Okay, so we are at the second part of section 4, which is titled Addition Reactions. So what are addition reactions? Addition reactions happen when atoms bond to each of two atoms bonded by double or triple covalent bonds. So what does that mean? It means that hydrogen, for example, or other atoms or any other atoms will go and remove the double bond and remove the triple bond. So addition reactions are like elimination reactions in reverse. So they are the opposite. Okay? We will have a look at that and you will see. So hydration means adding H2O. عكس ال dehydration اللي شفناه قبل شوي. So you are adding hydrogen, okay, and hydroxyl group from water to a double bond or a triple bond. A hydration reaction is the opposite of dehydration reaction. Okay. What is hydrogenation reaction? Is adding H2. So it's a reaction where hydrogen atoms, okay, will go and destroy the double and the triple bond. They will interfere there. So when H2 is added to a double bond like alkene, you will produce an alkane. عكس elimination. Remember, when we had alkane and it gives us alkene plus H2, what did we call this? Elimination, right? And which type of elimination it was? Dehydrogenation. Now, if I have an alkene double bond and I add hydrogen to it, I'm going to destroy the double bond and I will produce an alkane. So what do we call this? We call it addition reaction. And it's also called hydrogenation. يعني عكس اللي أخذناه في elimination reactions. And that's what's mentioned here in this slide. Okay? So, this is a summary of the addition reactions. لاحظ إنه reactant المتفاعل is alkene. So كل التفاعلات هاي عكس التفاعلات اللي شفناها في elimination reaction. عكسها بالضبط. Alright? So if you have an alkene double bond and you add water to it, so we call it hydration. What will be the product? Alcohol. If you have an alkene and you add hydrogen to it, hydrogenation. What will be the product? Alkane. If you have an alkene and you add hydrogen halide to it, اللي هي HX can be Cl, Br, F, whatever. What you are going to get? You are going to get an alkyl halide as a product. هذيل هني هم الرياكتنتس المتفاعلات. هذا هو البرودكت. Now, if you have an alkene and you have a halogen, بس الX, you are also going to get an alkyl halide, but you will add two X's. So you'll have an alkyl dihalide. Okay? Because you have two halogens here. And this is a summary of the addition reactions. You just need to know what is the reactant and what's the product. So when you see the reactant, لما نشوف المتفاعل فيها alkene, معناها البرودكت حيكون واحد من هاي الأربعة. مين اللي حدد؟ If water, alcohol. If hydrogen, alkane. If hydrogen halide, alkyl halide. If halogen only, like X2, it's going to be alkyl dihalide. Okay? So, catalysts اللي هم الحفازات أو الحفاز, which we studied a little bit in term 2 and you covered in biology as well. They are usually needed for hydrogenation reactions. Okay, when you add H2 because they lower the activation energy. So catalysts, they lower activation energy. Okay, so that's what you need to know. Now hydrogenation meaning adding H are used to convert liquid unsaturated fats. Unsaturated شو معناها؟ معناها double bond أو triple bond into saturated fats. Saturated fats are alkanes, single bonds, right? Between carbon and carbon, right? So alkynes can also be hydrogenated to form alkenes or alkanes. So triple bond تقدر تتحول لل double bond أو single bond through the addition reaction اللي هو hydrogenation, which we saw here, right? Hydrogenation from alkene to alkane. So the double bond will change to a single bond. All right? So one molecule of H2 must be added to each triple bond in order to change alkyne to alkene. So كل H2 يشيل لنا bond واحدة. What does that mean? You have a triple bond here, right? If you have an H2, it will remove one bond. So now you will end up with a double bond. If you add another H2, it will remove one bond. And now you have an alkane, single bond. Okay? So this one here is alkene. This one here is alkane. Now if you have a double bond and you added the hydrogen halide, it will go here and remove the double bond from here, and you will stay with an alkyl halide. Where did we see this general formula? So because we have an X here and everything is carbon, R means carbon, okay? We saw it here. So you have a double bond, alkene, and hydrogen halide HX, you will get an alkyl halide. Okay? And that's what's happening in here. Okay. Now, we have oxidation reduction reactions, which we covered in term 2. So you should remember that oxidation means losing electrons. Okay? Now, losing electrons also mean, شو معنى oxidation? What does it also mean? It means you get oxygen or lose hydrogen. يعني if a compound gets oxygen, it means it's oxidized. If it loses hydrogen, it means it is oxidized. So, again, oxidation means losing electrons. In organic chemistry, it's better explained by gaining oxygen or losing hydrogen. Now, reduction means gaining electrons, right? But it also means you lose oxygen or you gain hydrogen. Okay? So if we look here, we look at methane. If we add an oxygen to it, we will get an alcohol, right? So methane here is oxidized. Why? Because it got oxygen from the definition. So that's oxidation of alkane to alcohol. So if you have an alkane and it becomes alcohol, we call that oxidation reaction because it's gained oxygen. Okay? Now, you can have many oxidation reactions happening. Okay? For example, you have alcohol here, methanol, right? It's oxidized, but the oxidation here is through losing hydrogen. اللي هو واحد من التعريفات حق الأوكسيدation. Not getting oxygen, no. Losing hydrogen. So when you lose hydrogen, what will happen? You will have a double bond between the carbon and the oxygen. So you form an aldehyde, right? This is an aldehyde, methanol. Now, if you get oxygen to this H, you see? If you get an oxygen to this H, you will form methanoic acid, which is a carboxylic acid. Okay? And now if you lose hydrogen, okay, in this carboxylic acid, you form CO2, carbon dioxide. So, oxidation, oxidation, oxidation. 3 oxidations. From alcohol, نبدأ ب losing hydrogen, gain oxygen, lose hydrogen. And this is a sequence of oxidation reactions, okay? Now, sometimes you can have 2 isomers, okay? For example, 1 propanol and 2 propanol. They are structural isomers, right? So both of them are oxidized, okay, through gaining oxygen and losing hydrogen at the same time. So if one propanol is oxidized by getting oxygen and losing hydrogen at the same time, you will get propanal aldehyde. Okay. Now, if 2-propanol is oxidized and lost hydrogen at the same time, you get a ketone. Okay, 2-propanol. الفرق فقط إنه هذا 1-propanol and هذا 2-propanol, but they went through the same reaction. One produced aldehyde and one produced ketone. So you need to know this table and understand it the way we explained it here, okay? Alright. Now, if they give you a reaction and they want you to predict what will be the product. So this is the general equation for the dehydration of an alcohol, which is an elimination reaction, صح? So when you see the dehydrogenation, dehydration and so on, so the D means elimination. So you have an alcohol, right? You remove water, OH and H from here, and then you get an alkene, صح? So they will tell you predict the dehydration of 1-butanol. So you should know that you will, because this is a reactant, alcohol, you would remember that in dehydration reactions, when you have an alcohol as a reactant, it will give you an alkene and water. So, and this is the general formula we saw here. So 1-butanol is going to give you 1-butene because you will remove the OH and you will add a double bond. You will remove the OH and an H from here or here, maybe here. It's because to show the double bond. You see? So you remove OH and you remove H from here, like we saw here, right? The H from here and OH from here. Again, H from here and OH from here. You'll get water and you'll get 1-butene. So alcohol became alkene. Okay? Now, if you have something like this, alkene and HX, and here alkane. So if you have alkene and hydrogen halide, the product will be an alkane. For example, here you have cyclopentene and you have hydrogen bromide. So you should know that the product or the reactants are alkene and hydrogen halide, صح? So you should know that the product is going to be alkyl halide from this table that we saw. So the Br is going to be added here. This is an addition reaction, right? And then you will get bromocyclopentane. So not cyclopentene anymore because this is an alkene and this is hydrogen halide. So it will give you alkyl halide. Where did we see this? We saw it here. لما يكون reactant alkene, this is an addition reaction, and because you have hydrogen halide, so you should know that an alkyl halide will be formed. So you remove the double bond and you add the bromide to an atom, Br, and H to another atom. So do you see this H? It went here, but we don't show it. Okay? So this is an addition reaction. So, quick exercises. What kind of reaction has water as a product? It is dehydration, right? With dehydration, which type of a reaction? It's elimination. So, we should choose dehydration. What kind of reaction is shown here? عندك alkane, أعطاني alkene. And in the product you have H2. So this is dehydrogenation. And it's also elimination reaction, صح? So which one is here? It is dehydrogenation. لأنه we lost 2 hydrogens, right? That's what we saw previously. What kind of reaction is used to convert liquids unsaturated fats into saturated fats? So unsaturated means alkene or alkyne into alkanes. So this should be which of the following? Hydrogenation reactions, because it's an addition reaction. Okay, because you remember the formulas CnH2n and CnH2n minus 2, and here is CnH2n plus 2. الهيدروجين في الالكين أعلى من الالكين والالكين, so I should add hydrogen here, right? So that's why it's called hydrogenation, because I'm adding hydrogen, and we saw it previously in the addition reactions. The combustion of fuel power cars, an example of, the correct answer is oxidation reduction. Where can we find this? We can find it in the book. Under the oxidation reduction reactions, you will see that the combustion of hydrocarbons, okay, is a type of oxidation reaction, or an oxidation reaction. Okay, so you just remember it like this. And these are some exercises that you have in your book, and these are the answers, so you can practice on them and then have a look here. If you have any questions, you can always ask me. Okay, and that's the end of our curriculum. هذه نهاية الدرس الرابع ونهاية المنهج تبع الكيمياء. I wish you all the best، وبإذن الله موفقين وموفقات جميعا.